What would you consider your biggest success, David?
Probably, well, some of the stuff I did with Talking Heads was probably the biggest as far as reaching the biggest audience. Definitely, by that measure, that was the biggest success. But there's other things I've done that, to me, probably with anybody, there's things I've done that have not been quite as popular, but sometimes those are the ones where I go, that's where I made a breakthrough. Right. I guess but maybe 20 years ago, I worked with a lot of Latin musicians. That was a new experience for me. I took the plunge and toured Latin America with a bunch of Latin musicians playing Latin beats and things.
You didn't sing in Spanish?
Occasionally I did, but not very much, not very much. But I thought, this is going to be trial by fire. They're either going to laugh me off the stage or they're going to welcome me. And they welcomed me, they liked it. They just thought, the punk rocker likes salsa. What is going on here? Yeah, so that was certainly not my biggest selling project, but it was a breakthrough. That kind of thing was a breakthrough.
Right. In my mind, and in doing research, I find this not an original thought with me, that some comparisons have been made that you are to music what Andy Warhol was to painting and set piece art. Buy that?
It's very flattering. He had a huge influence. As I think you pointed out, I think, maybe not all of it, but a lot of his work, I think, felt like it was a little bit about alienation, an outsider looking, observing. Right. And I think a lot of my work has been that, but I think I've evolved or moved on to some other things since then.
Well, a production like American Utopia requires a tremendous amount of collaboration. Can we talk about collaboration? How do you do it? I mean, you're a singular talent, and I don't think it's too strong to say a genius at certain levels. How is it you're able to work with so many other people and work very well with them?
I have come to love collaborating with people. I feel like when it works, you get, 1 + 1 = 3. You get something bigger than the sum of the parts. It doesn't always work, but when it does, that's what you get. And I remember decades ago, I was more my way or the highway. So I'll work with you, but I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. And you don't always get the best. It can work, but you don't always get the best results. And probably more than that, it's not always the most pleasant experience to be as kind of my way or the highway kind of thing. And I discovered that, yeah, if there's a kind of give and take, a little more openness, I've discovered that sometimes, yeah, you can get something from other people that you never would have thought of yourself. They respond better if you're responding to them. They are happier to help you realize your vision. And yeah, it can be done.
What's your favorite collaboration?
Wow. I must say the choreographer that I worked with on this American Utopia show, Annie B. Parsons, I've worked with her a few times, and it surprises me how easily we collaborate. For instance, she had one bit of staging choreography where I was kind of in the middle of the stage and the band is all around me playing their instruments in a circle. And we worked on this and it was all great, and I would move up and then at one point I said, Annie B, why don't we all start moving around in that circle? And she said, yeah, of course. So that was right there, that was the collaboration.
I think this is a wonderful example and an understandable one.
Yeah.
But she's the expert. That's the reason she's there. But you had an idea and she said, yeah, that works.
Yeah, or we'd say, or she might say, yeah, we'll try it. And if it doesn't work, we'd go, no, no, okay, I'm sorry. But we tend to both acknowledge if something doesn't work.
Well, speaking of choreography, you're a pretty good dancer. I would say a very good dancer.
Not in the traditional sense.
Well, maybe not in the traditional sense, but when you dance, it's reminiscent of Tommy Tune, who was a big Broadway performer. Or, and I mean this kindly, kind of like the Scarecrow.
Was that Ray Bolger? Is that who that was? Anyway, yeah.
Well, did you conceive of this before you did it, or did you just start moving one day and it sort of came?
I kind of let my body do whatever it wanted to do, but I did consciously think, I don't want to move like anyone else. I don't want to inherit a style of movement that I see other kind of music performers doing, or that other stage performers doing. I said, that's theirs. They do that. I have to kind of come up with my own thing, which means sometimes starting from something very simple and building on it little by little until I have something go, oh, hey, now, okay, this is mine. I came up with this.
Well, you're obviously a mightily creative person. How do you create? What's the process? You wake up at night and write things down in a notebook, or?
I've done that. I've written things in a little notebook or on my phone or something like that. Often, I think it's by bringing disparate things together, things that maybe had never been put together. So it's not, you have not invented something from scratch. I feel like we never make something from nothing. We're gathering from different things. And if you can gather things from places that have never met before, then sometimes you get a real surprise. But that could be just, it could be something really different, like let's say engineering and fine art. But it could just be a lyrical approach to a song combined with a kind of melodic approach. That then you go, I've never heard that before.
Give me an example where that's resulted in something that you've produced or sang.
Okay. I did a musical a few years ago about Imelda Marcos and the revolution that ousted the Marcoses in the Philippines. And I was reading, before I thought of doing it, I read about how she loved going to discos when she was in their heyday.
High heels and all.
High heels and all, and seeing all the beautiful people with her in the discos. And I thought, that's quite an image. And then I put that together with, I didn't go often, but I remember I'd been to a disco back in the day where I saw popular singers of the day singing to a pre-recorded version of their hit song. There was no band. They would just sing along with the, kind of like a karaoke thing. Right. And I thought, what if, could you tell a story in that setting, in a club setting, of a person like Imelda who inhabited that setting and has an incredible rags to riches story, but tell it in that way with the performers all singing as happens in that setting. And I thought, I'm going to remember that. It took about 8 years to get it going, but.
Do you have any suggestions for encouraging creativity, particularly in children, young children?
I am certainly not an expert in this, but my gut feeling is that everybody's creative. They just have to find the thing that really they are passionate about, and that we as parents and adults and whatever, we tend to define what creativity is, and it might be something we don't know. That this young man, his parents might not realize he's an incredible cook. This guy is a future, incredible chef or whatever, and they may not recognize that that's where his passion and creativity is, because they think of it as that it should be in some other more prescribed area.
Well, I may think, well, I hope he doesn't become a chef. Even
Yeah, yes. My parents had a little bit of a hesitation, like, do you think you can get a job? Yeah.